Every child has the right to an education. However, for many girls around the world, access to schooling can be very difficult due to the barriers that stand in their way. This film will explore the extent to which national strategies have helped to improve girls' access to education in Pakistan, where it has been argued that the educational status of women is amongst the lowest in the world. Firstly, statistics will contextualise the scale of the issue being explored. Barriers impacting on girls' access to education in Pakistan will then be examined, and two national strategies seeking to minimise these will be critically evaluated. Finally, the findings of this film will be summarised, and a possible next step will be suggested. According to data from UNICEF, Pakistan has the world's second highest number of children out of school, with approximately 22.8 million children aged 5 to 16 not attending school in 2020. This accounts for 44% of that age group. These figures paint an alarming picture of the overall situation regarding education in Pakistan. However, it is exacerbated for girls. At the primary level, 32% of girls were out of school in 2018, compared to 21% of boys. By grade 6, these figures changed to 59% and 49% respectively. There are a variety of factors which may contribute to these disparities by limiting girls' access to education, and the film will now explore three of the major barriers: poverty, cultural and societal norms, and issues surrounding safety. It has been argued that poverty is one of the biggest obstacles that girls face when it comes to accessing education. Particularly in rural communities, such as Pashtun, families struggle to cover the basic costs of sending their daughters to school. One mother commented that, "We do not have enough money to cook the meals at home. How are we supposed to bear the expenses of their books and notebooks?" Additionally, research indicates that families are more likely to invest their money into their sons' education, as they have low expectations that girls would be able to produce the same higher economic returns as boys. This intersectionality of poverty and cultural and societal beliefs presents an even greater barrier to girls' education. Cultural and societal norms are highly influential in dictating the roles of women, which can impact their access to education. Whilst a shift in attitudes towards women has been acknowledged in recent years, the patriarchal structure of Pakistani households still serves as a barrier to education for many girls. For example, despite one father wanting to send his 17-year-old daughter to school, she was not allowed to go, as the grandfather at the head of the household believed that education wasn't for girls. Early marriages are prevalent in many rural communities in Pakistan, reducing girls' access to education in two ways. Firstly, some believe that it would be detrimental to the girl's marriage prospects if she was educated. Secondly, the roles and responsibilities that women acquire after marriage in the home and on the farm mean that they are often forced to drop out of school if they have previously attended. For Pakistani girls and their families, a significant barrier when it comes to accessing education is the risks to their safety, both in school and during long commutes. Fears of sexual harassment and kidnapping are reported by many, and between 2013 and 2017, approximately a third of attacks on schools in Pakistan were targeted attacks on girls' schools. Whilst boys can ride their bike to school, families are often required to pay for public transport to get their girls to school safely, resulting in further financial implications. Additionally, these safety concerns not only impact female students' access to school, but also female teachers' access. Many families refuse to send their daughters to school if there are no female teachers, due to cultural taboos and risks to their safety if they are only with male teachers. This provides another tough intersecting barrier for girls to overcome. There are a number of national strategies working throughout Pakistan to improve girls' access to education, and some even partner up with global organisations to strengthen their efforts. This was the case for Badari, a non-governmental voluntary organisation. Their work with Girls Education International promoted access to secondary schooling by providing transportation and covering registration costs, and their work with Girls Inspire was targeted at reducing gender-based violence in the country. The film will now evaluate two large-scale national strategies, the Punjab Female School Stipend Programme and the Citizens Foundation, to examine how effective their work has been in improving girls' access to education. The Punjab Female School Stipend Programme is a conditional cash transfer scheme launched by the region's government in 2003. Families of eligible students aged between 11 and 16 receive a fixed payment every quarter if the school can evidence that the student has had at least 80% attendance. It has been argued that one of the strengths of this programme is that it could help to alleviate the economic barriers to girls accessing education. The stipend can enable families to cover some of the initial costs of sending their daughters to school, minimising the barrier of short-term poverty. Additionally, by promoting girls' regular attendance in school through the financial incentive of the stipend, the cycle of intergenerational poverty may be broken, as evidence indicates that educating girls is one way of helping to lift families out of poverty. Therefore, this would help to reduce the economic barriers preventing future generations of girls from accessing school as well. Participation in the stipend programme can also be linked to a slight decrease in the number of girls' early marriages, and there is also evidence to suggest that these marriages are delayed by 1.4 years on average. This is another way in which this strategy helps to improve girls' access to education. However, the stipend programme is not without its limitations. Whilst the stipend is designed to be spent on covering the basic costs of schooling, research indicates that many families spend most of the stipend on necessary household expenditures such as food, medicine and clothing, and what is left over gets put towards girls' education. This prioritisation is understandable, however it does reduce the effectiveness of the programme, as the money that families put towards their girls' education only sees a small increase. Furthermore, it could indicate that girls' education is still not viewed as a worthwhile investment to many families, therefore not helping to promote girls' access to education in the long run. Now the film will consider the Citizens Foundation, a non-profit organisation founded in 1996. It is one of the country's leading organisations promoting education for the disadvantaged and places a focus on education for girls. The Citizens Foundation works to improve access to high-quality, low-cost education and has built a network of 1,652 schools across Pakistan. Qualitative and quantitative evidence indicates that their work is helping to change attitudes towards girls' education within families and whole communities, presenting a significant strength of this strategy. A community outreach programme addresses this common barrier, forging strong links between schools and families of students. However, the Citizens Foundation is also tackling the problem by welcoming boys into separate classes in their schools, all of which have an all-female faculty. This can lead to educated women becoming role models for boys, which could help to change perceptions on girls' education for future generations. These all-female faculties form part of the Citizens Foundation's strategies to tackle safety risks which often prevent girls from accessing schooling. Free door-to-door transportation, security through boundary walls, and locations within walking distances are also provided. Research suggests that these strategies have allowed families to feel more comfortable with sending their daughters to school. However, this strategy only serves as a short-term solution to the barrier of safety risks, presenting a limitation of the Citizens Foundation's work. For girls not attending their schools, the problem of gender-based violence in Pakistan persists and remains a considerable barrier to their access to education. To conclude, the task of improving girls' access to education in Pakistan is complex and multifaceted. The intersecting barriers of poverty, cultural and societal norms, and safety risks are deep-rooted and will take time to dissolve. Despite this, it is clear from an evaluation of just two large-scale organisations that national strategies are making considerable strides in addressing these barriers to improve girls' access to schooling. The findings of this film indicate that greater emphasis could be placed on working with families and communities to increase awareness of the value of educating girls and to address the need to combat gender-based violence in all of its forms.